You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Becca's there on the backhand, scoring the save, rebound in the crease, they score!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the Teamers in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney. And this episode number 13 of Season 2 of the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast is proudly brought to you by our friends at White Lion Brewing in downtown Springfield and in Amherst, by our friends at Brewcade in Agawam right on Walnut Street, and by our friends at Landscaping That Fitz. I'd give you the phone number, but the page won't load. That's my page, not his page. His page works just fine. Alongside Matt Baker, I am Steve Forney. Matt, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, buddy. How are you?
Yes. Good. Same to you. We're full swing over here. I'm taking a break from doing some cookie decorating. So,
Nice.
Looking forward to that.
Nice.
How about you guys? How's kids? Kids a little
great.
rambunctious. We're excited.
Yeah, it's to say the least. Kids are going nuts. We got a lot going on. I was forced to, my car crapped out, so I was forced to just buy a truck 2 days before Christmas.
Yep.
So we're I'm going to start door dashing, I think, to make a little extra money. I got to figure something out because it's expensive, but yeah, it is what it is. So really, I think this is going to be an abbreviated episode. We say that every time, but we both have stuff to do. And how much time do we really want to spend complaining about what was not a very good trip up to Canada, or quite frankly, on the road at all? 5 out of 5 losses on the road trip. Matt, your sort of main takeaway from not just the 2 in Canada, but the trip altogether?
Well, we put the poo in poutine. That's up in
nice.
Canada. You like? Oh, you know
Good
what?
one.
Yeah, there you go. That was pretty good.
That was great.
We talked about it. Not every loss is bad. Not every loss is the same. I mean, you get the loser pity point if you get into overtime. So we weren't, hitting the panic button after the first 3. After these last 2, again, I'm not hitting the panic button. I think now you can just say, they're not playing their best hockey, offensively, defensively. Shooting is an issue. Exiting their D zone was an issue this weekend. But again, I don't have a feel or a sense that it's a lack of effort or a lack of skill or talent or desire. I think this was again, like Ryan alluded to in our last episode, the first lengthy road trip, not just day trips. This isn't just a 5-game away streak where we're driving up and down 91.
Right.
This was, 2 weeks, 10 days. Was it 10 days, 5 games?
Yeah.
So 2 different countries. I'm going to just chalk it up to you're tired. Yeah, not making an excuse. You want them to play better. You want them to win, but these 2 in Canada were tough.
Yeah,
I felt like it is a different feel than the first 3, and it stings a little bit more knowing now Ellis is playing for Team Canada. You got Devo playing in the juniors as well. You would have liked for them to cash in some points prior to losing those guys. But now, again, you're already short forwards. Now you're 1 less. So we'll see. And
you lose your goalie.
Yeah. Yes. And I think now, I don't know Will Cranley very well, but now I think, looking ahead too, we'll touch upon the games in Canada, but looking ahead now, I think I'm looking at guys like Hugh McGing and Vadim Zarenko. What can you do here? If you're out and the good thing is, as a goalie, you're not, at Springfield, they rotate them. So you're not in every night. If you're Colton Ellis and you're missing 4 games, that's 2 starts. Could Vadim Zarenko do 3 and Cranley do 1 type of thing?
Depends on how well he's playing.
Right. And I have faith kind of Walchuk is going to play the hot hand. If that means Zarenko's doing all of them, maybe that's all of them. I don't know, but I'm looking for him to step up. And for McGing, it's not so much I think his play needs to step up. He just needs to put it in the back of the net. He's been playing okay. He's been playing well. He's been shooting. He just hasn't had a goal in a while. So I'm kind of looking for him to just kind of get out of that little goal scoring slump.
Yeah, and I give him credit too, because it seems like his physicality has picked up.
Yeah.
The goals aren't coming, but everything else is where it needs to be. I mean, he was playing some center against Laval. It went in face-offs, so it's like other aspects of his game are still pretty good. It's just kid just can't get a goal to save his life, which is too bad. And I guess we said last week, just keep firing, man. Just keep shooting, and it'll come. I remember saying probably about a month ago at this point that I think anytime you have a roster that's new together and you're playing against teams that are well seasoned together, you're going to run into issues. And when you look at, the best players on the ice for Laval in that game were, is it Janique? I know Ryan had a much better pronunciation of his name, but Zach McEwen, Harvey Pinard, like these are all guys that, or sorry, I'm looking at the Belleville roster, but even them, Zach McEwen, Matthew Highmore, Garrett Pilon was big for Hershey, so these are guys that are either really good or have played for a long time together. And you look at Laval, you have Laurent Dauphine, Barry Boulay, Waugh, Trudeau, Farrell, Harvey Pinard, Lucas Condata. These are all guys that were, they were all on the team that the Thunderbirds eliminated in the playoffs to go to the Calder Cup. So they've been playing together for a while. And now you look at Springfield and you take out, again, McEachern, Nicky, all the guys, Zach Dean, all the guys you have on the shelf, and you subtract them. Now you're just looking at a team that's trying to figure out how to play 60 minutes as a unit compared to a team that already knows how to do that.
Correct.
And so I think that people, we look at the shot disadvantages and we look at stuff like that. I think it was a unit against, as we called it previously, street ball. It wasn't, and I don't blame the coaches for it being street ballish. I think this is what happens when a roster gets as depleted as it is. And this is what happens when you play teams that are already really well in sync and in tune and, oh, by the way, healthy. And you combine those two things, that's what I think you were really looking at in that road trip. I don't single out one particular player for doing anything terrible. It was just unit versus unit. I think that they were just more prepared to win a 60-minute game. And I just, I think it kind of is what it is. It's unfortunate, but I'd like a better showing. I haven't added up the total shots between both games, but it was definitely telling. I did write just a couple of quick notes from each game. Again, the Belleville one, I wrote these in real time. This is an example of what happens when you're brutally suffering from forward injuries. Yes, Skinner makes a nice forward, but is it ideal? No. Second period, there was a massive board on Schoenemann that wasn't called. It should have been a 5-minute major. Of course, no replay. Thanks, Flow Hockey. I'm so tired of them. They just take the arena feed. Do you think the arena feed is going to show replay of that hit? No, of course not. So I guess we'll just never see it again. But the team did start to play physical after that, and I thought that was really lacking in the first, call it 30 minutes of the game. Dvorsky actually was the guy who laid a nice big hit after that, after Schoenemann got decked, that I love to see. But at the end of the day, you're outshot 33-17. And the sad thing about the shot total is that, we know I gotta get my screens right here. Sorry. The Belleville, they're outshot 36-23. And we know about Malcolm and his rebound control. They should have had 50. They should have had 50 shots. Just get in the zone and fire it. So I thought
that was my number one gripe is again, we liked Malcolm, but when he was with the Thunderbirds, that was kind of our big thing, was the rebounds can be there. And as Pekka knows this, Hugh McGing knows this. Leo Loof knows, like the guys who were there last year know this. And so I thought they would have been a little bit more eager. Even again, if it's not the best shot, not every shot has to be, I don't know, like the right term, like goal worthy. Make things happen. Have the presence down in the crease, put one on the goalie, let him make a mistake, and then punch it in. Or just let them work. I mean, and that's the thing too. You feel like as a fan, and look, maybe it feels different on the Thunderbirds bench, but I don't know about you as a fan. I get tired watching some of these sequences because you just see them working so hard.
Yeah.
And granted, they're not all dangerous shots, and we have solid goaltending. Again, I'm not knocking Will Cranley. I don't know much about him, haven't seen him play much, but I don't feel as confident with Will Cranley facing 40 shots. That's a floodgates are opening kind of stat line if that's the case.
And if you're the other team, you say, "Oh, this is an ECHL call-up. Fire everything at the net." And there was a little bit of too much of cuteness, a little cuteness. But I think it was the Laval game where Pekka comes down on a 2-on-1, and you think, okay, he has two options. He can either shoot or pass.
Yeah.
What about shooting low, far post, causing some chaos and letting your teammate crash the net?
Yeah.
Rather than hold it and wait till the last second and then pass it across, just fire it low and let your other guy come crashing in on it. See what happens. I mean, you don't always have to shoot to score. You can shoot to make things happen, to cause chaos. And there wasn't really any of it.
I think it's a mindset too. I think when they're not going in, when you got to work a little bit harder. I think sometimes it can be, we gotta force something to have. We gotta make that highlight reel play to let us relax a little bit. And sometimes, and I think Ryan even said this on the broadcast, sometimes you just got to keep it simple. Just shoot.
Right.
Just shoot. And maybe the goaltender misplays it. I mean, we scored, I think, this was a few weeks ago. I think Dvorsky got a goal because the goalie, I don't remember who it was, went to make the glove save and it kind of popped out of his glove. He made the save, but it popped out of his glove. Dvorsky's right there.
Yep.
One little move and boom, it's a goal. Just put the puck on goal. Keep it simple. Don't look, because you're right. Sometimes they look to make it that cute little bing, bang, boom pass, put it on a string. And sometimes you pass up two shots to make that third pass that then gets intercepted, or a bouncing puck, and then there's no shot even had.
Right.
So I saw that a little bit. I don't think we need to talk much about the power play.
Again, it's when you're Laval, for instance, and they lead the league in penalty minutes.
I know.
But yet they still have a good record, which means they're not afraid to kill penalties. And when you come out and your power play looks as inept as it does, and the numbers show that is as inept as it is, if you're Laval, you don't mind going shorthanded.
You're playing your game.
No, we'll pick up the intensity. We'll go to the box 7 times. I don't care, because you can't beat us shorthanded. So and plus there was a lot of shuffling, particularly in that Laval game. They really started to move the power play unit around. They slid Devo down to the second group, which again, I'm fine with all that. But these are things that over the course of a game, when you have a well-seasoned unit of penalty killers against a bunch of brand new guys trying to run a play that they probably don't do very much together as a unit, you're not going to have a ton of success. And so I think that in particular, Laval had 29 minutes of penalties, 9 infractions. The Thunderbirds did actually get a power play goal. They got one. It was 25% on that. And that was the Luff goal from Pekka and Silvegaard, which was gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah. That was nice.
But again, you talk about working so hard to make that extra play and that extra pass. How often does it work? It worked on that one.
Yeah.
That was one. Okay. So it was one. So they got one. We need more than one.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen by shooting the puck.
And for me, it's not even so much. I mean, obviously it's about the goals, but it just looks so painful to
enter the
zone and gain the blue line. It just looks so painful. And there's not enough
vodka in my house to watch it.
Well, there's that. I'm a whiskey guy myself, but there isn't enough lateral movement from the goalie either. They are isolating one side of when they do get the blue line. They seem to be kind of isolating half the ice at a time and not able to switch the puck as much as you probably should be able to with the one man advantage and with the skill they have. So again, we're not in the meetings with the power play units. But they just have when they do. And this would be an interesting stat. We have no way of knowing this, but I wonder, yeah, how many power plays the Thunderbirds have had where they just haven't set anything up to begin with. Throw those out for a second.
Love to see like the time on attack.
Right,
like those. Yeah.
What I'm getting at is I feel like when they do gain the blue line, they're probably, around league average success rate. When the problem is how often do they not even gain the blue line?
Right.
And they're spending a minute and a half just to try to get the puck in the attack zone. And I think that is more alarming than anything. Like, just give me, if you go 1 for 5 on a power play, but all 5 power plays, you had time on attack and you were moving the puck and you're making making the penalty killers work. You're like that when you are the Thunderbirds and as good at 5-on-5 hockey as they are. I mean, they prefer to play 5-on-5 in my opinion. What a good hardworking power play does to gain momentum and tire those penalty killers out. Those are typically, your top defensemen. So now bring them back. Go, all right, you don't score a goal, but you made them work. And now you're 5-on-5. They've got tired legs. You've got momentum. You just like to see a little bit more of that. And that's the frustrating part for me with the power play.
Totally. Even if they would, like you said, even though they just cycle the puck, just cycle it, and wear them out and see what happens. But trying to get nifty in the corner all by yourself is clearly not working right now. So, couple other notes I had from the Laval game. I think the really only fun, interesting part of that game was the scrap there.
Good one, Bitten. Well done.
With Bitten against Jackeye. I don't think Skinner deserved 10 minutes. If Jackeye hadn't shoved him on the way to the box, none of that even happens.
Agreed.
I was glad to see Jackeye also get shown a 10 because I don't think I've ever seen that. A guy going to the penalty box and on his way shoves another player on his way to the box. Like that's like 1980s, like Rick Middleton stuff.
Yeah.
70s,
you want to talk about like instigating, you want to talk about fighting after a fight. Like I'm with you. That was my big thing. I thought Skinner kind of got shafted a little bit there, but I maybe that was the referee's attempt at kind of enough of this, boys. You got your fight out of the way. Now move on. But if I'm not mistaken, that was a power play though for Laval right after that.
It was because Skinner got the extra 2.
He got the extra 2,
which is
for roughing.
I think is kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
I will give a shout out to the DJ in Laval for as the fight was going on, and then all the insinuating stuff after was playing "Oh Holy Night," which is the most beautiful Christmas song out there. It's the most calming, beautiful Christmas song, and yet these guys are all in each other's faces, and everybody in the crowd is singing along with "Oh Holy Night." I thought that was great.
That was awesome. Yep,
good entertainment there. And I will say the Thunderbirds followed up that fight with their best shift of the night.
Yeah.
So Sam did his job. He got the team going after the power play, and they got back to 5-on-5. The Thunderbirds had their best shift of the night. What does that
That's
say?
A great point. And so let's talk about that for a second, because that again, we're not a bunch of goons on Springfield, and you don't want to be part of that type of team, but one fight over the 5-game road trip can't always be bitten. I feel like as fans, my kids were asking me about this, and Sam really, since the season started, has been playing every night. And so we were used to last year seeing Sam in the lineup so sparingly. You kind of were just like, well, he's going to fight because he hasn't played in 2 weeks.
Right.
So, it can't always be Sam, but sometimes you do need a little bit of that. pickup on energy.
right,
and
right.
in a 5-game road trip where you're not playing your best and offense isn't coming. And again, I don't really think in any of these 5 games we didn't get a win. I know that, but I don't think it was not for a lack of effort. It was not for a lack of energy. I mean, I think it was energy, but it wasn't gross out there on the ice.
Right.
It really wasn't, in my opinion.
And
But maybe you need a little bit more fighting, and maybe not just from a guy like Sam. You need a little bit more literal fight when you're going on these long road trips and things are coming a little bit tougher for you.
I agree. And, you miss McEachern because he'll do it. But, you have Callan will do it. Peterson will do it. Skinner will do it. Silvegaard will do it.
Yeah.
So you do have other routes besides Sam. And I think that some of these guys, they kind of, okay, well, we need some energy. Sam, go out there and do it. It's like, well, no, you do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't make him do it. You go do it. You don't have to fight Jack guy. Go find somebody your size and go tune him up a little bit. So, I think that the physicality, and like I've said before, sometimes it's not even a fight. Just give me a big hit at center ice and open ice, right? Tyler Tucker's not here anymore to provide that for you. Somebody's got to lay somebody out. Somebody's got to smash somebody so loud that breaks the glass. That's the kind of stuff that will get you going just as much as a fight. You don't have to take the penalties. Just make the physical, the physical play. So they're going to have to fill that void, that physical void with Tyler Tucker. And I think we saw that a lot this weekend as well. So I don't know. I don't have much else on these games. I don't want to sit here and
that's all I got.
Complain
That's all I got.
For a while.
I'll end it on this though. I'll just end it with this and a little bit of Matt Baker optimism here. I think, could this just be the streakiness of an AHL club where when they're on, and we saw it. 7-game point streak, really almost 2 months of every game getting a point with the exception of the Utica Comets game in there. So you're playing really good. You got above 500. You made your way up the standings. We know the Atlantic Division standings are tight. So don't read too much into, well, they're in 7th now. It's not where they're going to stay. I firmly hope, wholeheartedly believe that. But this is the other end of that, right? 5-game losing streak. And this is what happens in the AHL. And hopefully that means as the new year, as we're turning the calendar to 2025, hopefully the team, sparks again and gets hot, and I think it's reasonable. It's a good thing timing wise. They're coming home short Devo and Ellis, but at least you're home and you've got winnable in conference in division games, which are going to be huge. And then hopefully you've got Dvorsky coming back shortly after. Hopefully you got McEachern coming back. I think Nikita and Dean are a little bit lengthier, a little bit more, a little ways away from returning, but you got guys coming back. They are coming back. So it's just one of those little losing streaks.
We'll see how it can shake out. And you're right. A couple against the Wolfpack, a couple against Britwell and Bridgeport. So points to be won there and standings to be hopped. If we can. Matt, if you want to pull out the fan rants, we do have a couple of those at least. I know we touched on some of that stuff, but while you're doing that, I'll let the people know that the SRG podcast proudly sponsored by our friends at White Lion Brewing, their new location in Amherst on North Pleasant Street, and of course, right downtown Springfield at Tower Square, 1500 Maiden Street, the place to go and park prior to Springfield Thunderbirds games. You can park right there in the Tower Square garage, swing into White Lion, show them your T-Birds ticket, and they'll validate your parking for you. And while you're there, grab some of their Boomer Nachos, Seuss Mac and Cheese, some Hall of Fame wings, along with any of the 20-plus beers they have. And don't forget, you can find your favorite White Lion beers in your local liquor store cooler. White Lion Brewing, now in Amherst in downtown Springfield. They want to wish everybody a happy holidays, all the SRG fam. White Lion wants to wish you all a happy holiday season. And you do head down there. Make sure you tell them that you heard about them from fine folks here, will you? Brewcade, another wonderful sponsor we have on Walnut Street. Look, the holidays are here. There's people in town that maybe you haven't seen in a while, you haven't gotten together with. You got a bunch of your college buddies or your high school buddies. Head over to Brewcade. If they're out of towners too, they would be thrilled to know that this kind of stuff is happening in Agawam. Beers, play some arcade games, darts, a pool. They have just a great time. And now's the best time to do it. I mean, the day before New Year's, the day after Christmas, there's all kinds of wonderful days that you can get down there and enjoy that place. A Brewcade on Walnut Street in Agawam, right over the bridge from the Big E. And make sure you tell Michael Sarnelli and the family-owned business there that the folks from SRG sent you. And by our friends at Landscaping That Fits, we are almost to 2025, folks. Now is the time to start thinking spring and get look, if you're like Steve, it's 2 days before Christmas, it's New Year's, I'm not thinking about the spring. Fair enough. New Year's resolutions, right? You're going to get in shape. You're going to claim to do all these other things you're not going to do. At least I'm not going to do. At least get your lawn set and ready, all right? When you think of all those New Year's resolution things, add to that list, call Rob at Landscaping That Fits and make sure that you have whatever your lawn needs are, whether it's cleanup, aeration, fertilization. You need someone to come and cut the grass. Give Rob a call. 847-0338 at Landscaping That Fits. Check him out on social media and let him know that the boys from SRG sent you, and he'll be pumped, I'm sure. So there you go. Thank you to our sponsors, and they all wanted to wish you a happy holidays.
Yeah, and short story, my both kids were actually at Brewcade over the weekend. They had a few friends got together. They did a little friends gift swap and spent a few hours at Brewcade. They had a great time. Great time. I had some clothes to fold and some presents to wrap. So Jill took them, but she enjoyed a few beers and the kids enjoyed a few hours worth of arcade games. It was a good time there at Brewcade.
Love it.
So let's get into some of these fan rants. And really it's funny because I love it when our fans like that, their rants are exactly kind of what we're talking about. And so we're on the same wavelength here, but just to highlight a few, Matt and Dino.
We'll go with Dano.
Sure. Him and Sean Miller, kind of the same kind of question, right? Any update on the injuries and who's going to step up? So we've got injuries from Zach Dean, Nikita, Mackenzie McEachern, Taryn Pfizer, big top 6 guys, and now Dvorsky and Ellis out. So who steps up for them? Look, I think obviously Will Cranley is going to get the call up. I touched upon it earlier. I think Vadim Zarenko has to play big these next few games, and I think the team also has to recognize we can't be giving up 30 to 40 shots, especially when, Will Cranley gets the call. Again, and this is not, it's hard. I don't really think anyone out there is playing as a liability. I think some of our best shifts, some of the best segments or sequences are coming from the 3rd and 4th line guys with just the hustle, with the hard work, with keeping the puck engaged. And so it might not be turning into goals, but I'm not necessarily saying, all right, I need someone to pick their game up. But I will say, I think, I kind of want this as a fan too. Hugh McGing, let's get some goals here. Let's go on a nice little point streak here. And I think that would be big for him. So I'm kind of looking, obvious answer of who steps up. With Ellis gone, it's got to be Zarenko. He's got to play more and he's got to be lights out. Defensively, as a team, as a unit, they need to figure out a way to limit shots. Again, even though they're not dangerous shots, Zarenko and Ellis, they can handle those. I don't know how Will Cranley will respond, when he gets the call in net here in the AHL. So as a team, I think those you really got to tighten down the defense there, the off the puck defense, and offensively, I just want to see Hugh McGing score. Let's get some goals, buddy. Keep shooting. I mean, he's playing hard, so just keep doing your thing, keep grinding, and I'm hoping that the horn sounds a few times for Hugh McGing this next weekend.
No doubt. No doubt about it. I think he'll be happy to be playing back in Springfield. I'll give you one name, a guy I know nothing about. I literally just looked it up. The Florida Everblades, our ECHL affiliate, Carson Geiswitz. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about him, but he has 25 points in 26 games, 12 goals, 13 assists. He has 60-something shots. He's got 2 power play goals and a shorty, so they obviously have him playing a lot of special teams as well. I don't know what his draft status is. He's 6'3", 212. So he's a big dude.
Time for a call up.
Yeah, I mean,
what's that name again?
Carson Geiswitz, Gicewicz. Carson
All right,
Geiswitz.
we'll be looking for him.
And while you look him up, either way, I'm going to just do a quick little rant here. It's something that annoys me when you guys talk about the injuries, and this is not a Springfield Thunderbirds thing, and I'm not banging on the team. The Laval game had Josh Jacobs on their roster. Ryan on several occasions said, Josh Jacobs was a Thunderbird, but never actually played in a game because he had a nasty Achilles injury that happened during the preseason. Why can that information not be given and shared with the people? And it's not just them. The entire AHL does it. The entire NHL does it. There's this hockey thing that, we can't tell anybody what the injury is. Why? What wouldn't it ease the minds of Thunderbirds fans knowing don't hold your breath for Zach Dean. He's not going to be back for another month and a half.
Right.
Don't hold your breath for Nikita Alexandrov. He's out another 3 weeks. Get excited, guys, because Mackenzie McEachern's close. So help might be on the way. I don't know if or think any of those things are true. I have no idea because nobody says anything, and it's so annoying. And it's not just a Thunderbirds thing; it's a hockey.
It's hockey.
Times the Bruins lower body injury. Ryan was talking about it last week about Nick Leddy, or when we interviewed him, he was like, "Well, he said he was going to be out day to day, and he hasn't played in a month." And this guy was scheduled 3 to 6 weeks, and he was back in 2. Like, wouldn't it just? It's like almost like a respect thing to your fans.
Yeah.
Here are our players. Here are our lineups. Here's what our injury situation is. And again, you don't need to tell me that it's his left tibia. Just say he's got a leg injury. He requires surgery and he's going to be out 2 months. And again, I'm making this up because I literally know nothing, which is I think the most frustrating part.
It's frustrating. Well, and I mean, take last year, for example, and Josh Jacobs, we talked about him a few times on the podcast. Maybe he's back. He's in a photo shoot when it was, one of the specialty games. He's in the photo shoot. Maybe he's coming back. We don't know. And we had no idea it was basically a season-ending Achilles injury. You look at when Matthew Pekka was hurt last year, he took the shot off of, his ankle and it broke an ankle. Okay, so we know he's gone for a few months to begin with. There were only a few months left in the season, but you don't say that. And he's week to week, and he's not really week to week. He's got a broken ankle, and again, I know there's HIPAA and all that. And I'm not looking for a medical chart.
I don't need to know his blood pressure.
I don't need to know. I don't need to know his blood type, but you are right. And we talked about this last night, sort of in our text messages, but especially nowadays with sports betting and things like that, you want to, if you're playing the odds, well, if I know a guy's going to be out for a week, all right, not going to hurt the team in the standings so much. If they're going to be gone for months, that's a little different. So it would be nice to have a little bit more pertinent information shared. And again, I don't need to see a copy of somebody's x-ray. I don't need to see the medical chart, but just a heads up of what actually is going on. And when Mackenzie McEachern got hurt, we knew right away that season ending, the reports he's going in for shoulder surgery, and I feel like if it is season ending, that's basically it. You're either day to day, you're week to week, or you're season ending. There's a lot in there that would be helpful to us as fans. And it is a shame. This is how hockey does it. They're really the only kind of sport that does it like this. Baseball, you put them on a 15, 30, 45 day IL. Football is a little bit more forthcoming with their injuries of the severity and
they
timeline.
They come in real time. It's like just follow Adam Schefter, and he's like, well, so-and-so's got a left leg contusion, may return or may not. Like,
a high ankle sprain, gone for. They literally have shows and segments on SportsCenter about every major football injury. So I am with you. I would like to have a little bit more real information shared, and not just, I don't know why it has to be kept in secret. I don't, it's no advantage to another team to know, well, he's not playing against us. Like, or then when you make them day to day, if you are more forthcoming with the severity of an injury, when they are close, then they are day to day, and they're actually day to day.
Yeah.
But I don't know what advantage or disadvantage there is to be had by being so secretive and code words when it comes to
throw the fans a bone. Throw the fans a bone. really.
Yeah.
And real quick, I looked him up. Carson Geiswitz. He was the captain at St. Lawrence in 1920. He had 24 points in 28 games for UMass in 2020, 2021. He played 2 seasons with the Rockford Ice Hogs. He played 9 games for the Milwaukee Admirals last year, but spent most of the season down in Atlanta in the ECHL. But last year he had 27 points in 43 games. Now he has already 25 in 26 games. So
Time for a
he's by far playing his best. He's 27, so he's not a kid.
Yep.
It's the worst that can happen. Bring him up.
Yeah, bring him up.
And see what happens.
Well done, GM Forney.
Hey, thank you.
Good call on that one. Back to the fan rants. Steven Badura, wondering why the team isn't shooting the puck. Love the boys and our offensive weapons, but we just pass. Need to pepper the opposing goalie. It will tire him out. And also, good things happen when the puck is on net. Well said.
Chaos. This team needs chaos on offense, and they have to create their own chaos, and that's physicality in the corners and the forecheck. Have a good net front presence, which I thought Dylan Peterson did a really nice job of. The problem is he's working really hard in front of the net, and nobody's shooting the puck.
Yeah,
you know, net front presence only works if somebody's shooting. So greasy goals, grimy goals. I talked about grit and balls. You can't have grit and balls if you're not even shooting the puck. So, this team needs the motto for the next. Till the end, first of the year should be chaos.
Yeah,
which I think is what's happening upstairs above me with my children. I'm sorry if all the noise I'm hearing is going over the air, but they need some chaos in order to win some games.
Yeah, and good call with the grit and balls. Vin Carroll, he's been asking for it. He comments too. You know, they need to shoot more, and it's true. The other kind of theme of the comments here, Trini, Al, Rhea, Mary, Switzer, you know, it hard fought games, and like we've kind of talked about the feeling of even these last 2 podcasts are, all right, you lost the first 3, but we got some points there, and you brought them to overtime, winnable games, and then it kind of slides down. And I think for me personally, it's just the length of a road trip, and the guy's not ready for it, and they just sort of lost their wheels. And again, I think effort was there. They just kind of lost their wheels.
That's what it is. It's not like we're sitting here saying they're not trying hard, because they are. They're going out there and trying their best. That's why I bring it back to the organization and the level of talent. And I think those 2 things combined, especially, again, I'm not saying these guys stink. It's just that when you're fully healthy and you have Alexandrov and McEachern and Dean, and they're playing on your power play and they're taking up spots on the top 2 lines, now you're in rhythm. Now you're going.
Yeah.
And when Peterson was playing with Bitten, and then Callan was playing here, and you got defensemen playing forwards. It's nuts, and it's not sustainable. So hopefully we can get some answers soon.
Yeah. That pretty much is it for our fan rants. Again, we thank you, and keep the. Let me Tariana Aldrich, because this is a good one. She said it before, and she'll say it again. Win or lose, I still love this team. They fought hard. And people still want to dump on them. Look, we're not going to dump on them. No. And we know this. If for any sport, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. We know the AHL is a streaky league. And again, to just kind of bring it all home, right? We've talked about this in the Atlantic Division standings when the T-Birds were hot. Teams like Providence, the Checkers even, they were kind of slumping. So as Springfield's moving up, you have these other teams going down. And now all of a sudden you've got the Checkers who are surging, who are a few points away from the Bears. I will say this, the Bears are very talented. And I'm not looking to create any locker room material. I don't think anyone on the Hershey Bears is listening to our podcast, but I don't think they're very talented, but I don't think they put the fear in other teams like they did last year. If that made I feel like half the battle was won before the puck even dropped. I don't know if anyone will admit that, but they ran through the league these last 2 years. They're still very good. I don't think they are as invincible as they had been in years past. And you've got the Checkers that are just, they're a few points behind them. So that was kind of my point to that is this is a 5-game losing streak. The silver lining is during their 5-game losing streak, they've been able to get 2 points. So hopefully they get out of this little slump. They put some wins together here at home. They'll go on another losing streak. Let's hope the next losing streak comes with a few points sprinkled in there too. That's really what kills you. And if they're especially being division games, these next 3, you can be making up 6 quick points in your division,
right?
And separating yourself from Bridgeport and really pulling ahead. If you get these two wins against Hartford, if they're in regulation, you could be pulling ahead of them as well. So.
Yeah, Charlotte's 4 points down, and they still have 4 games in hand. They've only played 26 games. Hershey's played 30, so they could very easily take over that number 1 spot. So we'll see what happens here within the division.
And just from top to bottom in the division, no team scared. We can play with the Hershey Bears. We can play with Charlotte. We got to start pulling out the wins. I'm with you there. Like, you got to start getting these wins in regulation, just for the standings, just for the points, just to help with that playoff push. But at the end of the day, you make the playoff, and then we're not even in January yet. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're not here to dump on the team. The effort is there, Terriana, you're right. And this is a losing streak. It happens to everybody. And hopefully the T-Birds pop out of it soon.
Yes. Yeah, that is the hope. So we talk about soon. Soon is close. Friday, right after Christmas, December 27th, at home against the Hartford Wolfpack, presented by MGM Springfield. It's the Deuces Wild Friday, $2 domestic drafts, $2 glizzies, and $2 sodas through the end of the first. Pre-game concert series featuring Access. It is the Trinity Health I-91 rivalry series, and it's Big Y family night. So you can get $5 off select tickets with your Big Y savings card. So that's good enough. If you're looking for tickets, you can get $5 off. Game they, I think, really just need to win in regulation, not because Bridgeport's chasing you, but because you need the points. They turn right around Saturday. This might be a good Will Cranley game. If you had to pick one, maybe this is where you play Cranley on Saturday against Bridgeport. It's presented by Window World of Western Mass. That is the Boomer Chimney Ornament giveaway. I don't really know what is that, a Christmas tree ornament?
It's a Christmas tree ornament with Boomer popping out of the chimney.
Oh, that's kind of cool. All right.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get my hands on one of those. So that's Saturday, December 28th. And then the game that Matt, your family, my family, a couple other families, we're doing a little bit of a family group thing on New Year's Eve at 3:05 against Hartford. Giving away cowbells to the first 30,000 fans. So I will bring my earplugs. It's presented by PSRB Law. Pregame pickleball palooza.
Yes.
I'm not sure much about that. I don't know how much pickleball you're going to be playing on Bruce Landon Way, but you never know. And it's a winning weekday. If the T-Birds win, you can redeem your ticket for the next weekday game. So another big one against the Wolfpack. Oh, by the way, that game, they're wearing those sweet blue jerseys.
Nice.
So I hope all you families have fun. I'll be down at my spot while you guys are up.
We'll be cheering loud. We'll be banging our cowbells.
But
and look, I think these are 3 obviously very winnable games, and got to have the wins too. I think the Wolfpack are a team, again, not following them as closely as we do the Thunderbirds, but up in the NHL, the Rangers are kind of fumbling a little bit too. So you never know if they're looking to shake up their roster and call guys up. They're making trades over there. So what that does for the Wolfpack, we've seen it here in Springfield. The Blues, when they're in disarray, they're calling up, sending down. And so, I think now is when you need to jump on the Wolfpack and get these points now. I think so. Look, these are 3. I mean, anything less than 5 points, I'm disappointed.
Agreed.
I am. Again, we're talking the first week in January, right? Our next podcast. So I'm not ringing the alarm. We're not sounding any DEFCON 5, but I'm disappointed after these next 3 games. If you're not getting 5 points out of them, I know we're depleted, but I still think there's enough. I know there's enough leadership. I know there's enough skill and talent. I know there's enough high energy, high octane guys on this roster. And, I still believe, even if you're having to pull the Wolfpack into overtime and stretch it out, anything can happen in overtime, but you got to win those 3-on-3 battles. And I think talent on talent, I like the T-Birds there. So
Yeah, I can't figure out Hartford. I mean, a lot of these teams I can figure out. I watch them, they get blown out one night, and then the next night they blow doors, and then the next night they get shut out, and then I cannot anticipate what I'm getting from Hartfard.
Do you feel? Let me ask you this question, and that's a good point. Like you're right. We have seen teams. It was the Checkers or the Wilkes-Barre Scranton last week. They get their blows dorn off 4-0. They lose and they come back and beat us, a hot Thunderbirds team at the time. Do you feel, win or lose, the Thunderbirds have been very consistent?
Yeah,
I can think of one game. This is I'm putting you on the spot here. The one game I can think of where they just got ambushed early and often was that first game against Hershey in Springfield. I think Zarenko was in net.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've lost some bad games, but consistent play, I feel, has been there for most of the season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I agree, and I think it goes to where the talent is. And I'm going to take out the first probably 3 weeks because I still think that was such a feeling out period for all these young guys. But I think when it comes to consistency individually, I think most of these guys have been consistent. Matthew Pekka, Matt Luff, Samuel Johannesson, I think that these guys have been really consistent players. I think that the team has also been consistent. I think part of the problem with that is I don't think that they are necessarily always making the adjustments that they need to make and say, okay, well, this, it's second intermission. This way that we're playing isn't working. We need to do this instead.
Sure.
And when it comes to power play zone entries, they've been consistent, just consistently not very
bad.
Good. Right. So consistency can go both ways, but I do think the stuff that they've been doing that's made them successful has been consistent. The things that have sort of hamstrung them and held them back have also been consistently the same things.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah, consistent, yes, but good and bad.
Not in. Yeah. I would agree with that.
So
well said.
All right. Well, we're cutting it a little short here for the Christmas break. We hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. We want to thank our friends at White Lion Brewing, our friends at Brewcade, and by our friends at Landscaping That Fits for sponsoring us. And they're all wonderful people. They're all, it's not just for the money. Like they're like, family owned and operated businesses, and they run a legit operation. And, so we're really thankful to them. We're really thankful to all of you who listen and tune in, and, really, this the happiest and healthiest holiday seasons. Have fun, eat a lot, stay healthy, keep your body right. Don't get too stressed out. Everything will be fine. And
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yes.
We'll see you on the other side.
You all, absolutely. Thank you all for listening. Stay healthy, stay safe. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all that jazz. We'll see you at the Thunderdome. We'll be there. And as always, let's go T-Birds. Let's get some dubs.